Well, good morning. It is 7 a.m. I'm sat here totally alone on the Saint-Michel-Chef beach in France. I'm here because I just want to take it all in.
One last time.
You see, I've wanted for so long to come here, ever since I saw a particular picture in a magazine, and it took me a long time to work out where the heck it was. And now I'm finally here. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be reflecting on some of the lessons that I have learnt in trying to pursue some of the locations that I've been to.
I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older and therefore a bit more sentimental, or because there is a bit of an age difference between myself and my husband, but I'm trying to do things a bit differently. You see, gone are the times when I want to just buzz into a location, grab a shot and go. That tick box approach may have satisfied me 10 years ago, but not anymore.
My first lesson to myself is to make memories and not just take photos, because I can spend a lot of time behind my camera lens when I am travelling, and actually sometimes I'm so engrossed in what's going on through the lens that I don't look beyond. In Spanish there is a phrase, hacer tu foto, which is to make your photo, or as opposed to tomar une photo, to take a photo. And I think the concept of making a photo is quite different to taking, because for taking, you are fleeting, you are in, you are out, you may be there for a short length of time, but you don't take the time to take it in and to a certain extent make memories, make a connection.
Ideally, I want to be able to remember the colours, the shapes, feel the texture of rocks and sand, to feel the warmth on my face or the coldness of the sea. Whatever it is that makes a place really unique and special, I want to remember that and not just have the feeling of dipping in and dipping out without making that connection. That's what I've done in the past, and it feels most unsatisfactory now. Memories. Make them. Connect.
It's just me, the marron grasses, some cows up on the headland, and some potential.
Today's ponder, or words of wisdom, come from Brittany, a place where 2 years ago I made such a connection. The coastline is, as they say, as rough as nuts.
Now, to me, this is quite extraordinary. You see, we don't have anything like this in England,
to my knowledge.
Now, I'm here today for one reason, and that is to photograph the pink granite lighthouse with the light hitting it, so that we have, and also the rocks around, so that we have a lovely glowing pink granite gorgeousness.
Eloquent.
Technical expressions. I really should learn more geology. I have photographed this scene, or these scenes around here, before in a lovely pink dawn morning. High tide is an absolute must because the coast is really chaotic. However, what I've realised subsequently is to get the best out of this area, you need a little bit of side lighting.
Back to Welcome's wisdom whilst I sort out my composition.
My next lesson to myself is to remember that we have been given a gift once we are experienced in getting behind the camera, and that is to see things differently. It can, there is no doubt, be a little bit tiring at times. It's quite difficult to drive past scenes without thinking, oh, if only the light were like this, or noticing stuff. When I drive with other people, sometimes they're just kind of going by and just not getting excited in a way that I do. The downside of that is I'm rarely in a position where I can jump out the car and stop and take advantage of seeing differently. But seeing differently is both a gift and, quite frankly at times, a pain in the butt.
Now, I admit it's a bit specialist to get excited about a sexy cloud. And my idea of magical conditions, well, my mother says they're dreary. Beauty is clearly subjective, and I really do appreciate the fact that the camera makes me see differently. Over the years, it's trained me and forced me to notice. That's quite a gift. Right, back to my scene. I'm at the lower rocks, which are the same ones I shot from before, but there is a higher perspective I'll explore later. Meanwhile, on to point 3.
The thing I really do need to remember though is to plan, but allow myself to be surprised. So don't get bogged down in the parameters or the rules that we have assumed in our planning. We may have seen lots of photos in certain areas or with certain conditions, and if we don't get them, we may well end up being very disappointed. Just not having those in your head the entire time, dominating, dictating, can be quite freeing. So plan, but for goodness sake, be surprised.
I am an utter sucker for planning. You will not get me leaving to chance sunrise, sunset, high tide, low tide times, and absolutely not where to park. I am not one of those people. And even though I like to be in control of certain elements, I still like the surprise. Just not too much of it though. Good Lord, woman. Hello again.
Okay. Weirdly, I've come back to the same place that I was at last time. I've tried higher and lower, but actually I'm getting lots of shadows in the foreground if I go to other places. So I'm aiming to get the whole of this vista in so that I have it lit in the afternoon/evening sun.
Well, that was the plan anyway. But as ever, nature threw a spanner in the works.
There's actually no reason for me to stay here until sunset because the clouds in the sky are that direction and nothing over here is going to light up pink. And I've also got the morning pink light from a couple of years ago, which I will have shown you by now. Next up, awe is important. The word awesome is used by many photographers, particularly us online, over and over, and I think it becomes a little bit tired, overused at times, but awe is important, and that can be seen in a grand vista or sometimes in the minutiae, the details of a particular scene. Now, when we first start out, we tend to have awe in all kinds of places. I certainly would go awe at everything. I don't think I ever did that bit, but you know what I mean.
Just as well.
Ultimately, I have refined that. And sometimes I think I've forgotten to have the experience of awe and really understand that something is awesome without shouting that something's awesome. You, the viewer, can decide if something's awesome. It's not really for me to say.
That's true.
Unless, of course, it is, in which case, it's awesome. These are quite awesome. Very big pink rocks.
Again, eloquent.
Very big. I sometimes feel a little bit sad when I'm talking to some of my professional fellow photographers who are talking to me about how they've lost a little bit of the je ne sais quoi that made them fall in love with photography in the first place. It's almost like the awe has become a chore, and that's not bon.
I think awe is often associated with those grand vistas, the ones that make you stand back and drink in every element. But that can be overwhelming, both in a photo and in situ.
Right, I've gone for a slightly off-centre composition, and I think I might regret it. So I've gone wide enough so that I can make it a square if I need to. The light pounding behind, can light pound? Anyway, it's streaming behind the mountains. And it's looking really lovely. I'm bracketing because I don't know what I'm doing. There you go.
God, it's cold.
And panicking.
Behind the scenes stuff you don't get to see. Yes, okay, this scene is impressive. The sunstar's great. But for me, the awe, well, that comes with this. It's quietly awesome.
My final lesson is something that I have been pondering quite a bit. One of you put in the comments about the enemy of the question is the answer a little while ago, and I thought that was quite profound because I think I may ask less questions now I'm more confident in my photography, and sometimes that's because I presume I know the answer. It's not always the right answer, it's not always the whole answer. And sometimes I end up closing myself off to an experience or a bit of knowledge because I've assumed I know the answer. Therefore, I'm not even going to bother asking.
Boo.
In fact, thinking about it, the only person I really ask questions of is my photo buddy, Ben. And I love him to bits, but half the time I don't really understand his answers.
Confession.
He babbles in geek speak, and I love him for it.
I really do, Ben, if you're listening.
I just go, isn't that a pretty scene? And take a photo. That's probably why he's far more successful than I am, to be fair.
Oh, love.
That's quite depressing.
Yes.
Well, we were hoping to put the drone up, but not a hope in heck. It's far too gusty. And if you land on any of this stuff, goodbye drone and everything that we've filmed so far. Not happening.
So we waited to see if anything was going to happen with the clouds from a higher elevation, and nope, but I got one more shot to show you. Just how chaotic are those rocks?
Well, it's 1 hour before high tide and that sun has gone behind a bank of cloud. Interesting at the moment that I can just cut through with the polarizer and get some of the lovely rocks that are just under the surface of the water. But I think I'm possibly done for the day. Even though that cloud is sort of coming through, it's really quite solid. There's going to be no sunset to speak of, and we've got an hour's drive. So we'll meander back and have a nice little beer whilst chatting about our day.
Memories have been made.
Not bad.
Well, you've endured quite a bit of my witterings, but I'm going to leave you with two of my favourites, one from last time and one from this time. I would love to hear about your best photographic memories. Where are they from? What made it so special?
Well, thank you for joining me today at rather a grand place with lots of impressive boulders. Wherever I am next time, I look forward to taking you with me. Meanwhile, have a cracking couple of weeks. Take care.